Well, pinche buy me a coffee in PayPal, says Gary Green. Tómala. We'll get to dive into that comment in a little while. But first, let's welcome everyone to Coffee and Headlines. Welcome back to our morning get together, where we combine headlines from our city, state, and country with your comments, ideas, and suggestions. We put all this information together to hopefully connect with each other, connect with our destination, Puerto Vallarta, as a city of English-speaking locals, and also to connect with Mexico's way of life, traditions, and so forth and so on. Today is Friday, December the 9th. And
thank God,
as always, it is a pleasure to get together with you, and it is a pleasure to welcome everyone. And in particular, those of you that are watching live for the first time, please feel free to let us know that you are watching for the first time by writing the word new in your comment, and we'll be so very happy to give you a nice little welcome. And of course, if there's something truly important that you're thinking about, feel free to let us know that you want to have a comment acknowledged with a capital letter Q. And we will be so very happy to take a close look at your comment in the comment section. Let me tell you that today we're going to have some random news updates. We have news for people working for City Hall. We have news about whale watching. We have interesting insight about how do we refer to people that are sitting on a wheelchair. How do we refer to people that maybe don't have good eyesight or any other kind of life situation that makes them different. I had a great conversation a week and a half ago, with Kathy and Dan Doran's daughter, who is an occupational therapist, and she went on to share some thoughts with me that I would like to share with everyone. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and of course we have an update on the many different wonderful local businesses that have joined our effort to create this amazing giveaway, which is coming up in less than a week, where you'll have the opportunity to win great prizes from different local businesses. I'll give you an update on how we're doing with that. But first, let us dive into the news. Okay, for starters, this is just more of an FYI. I found out that 45 years ago yesterday, Ceapal, the company in charge of providing our city with clean water, drain, and sewage systems, was created. It was established because Puerto Vallarta was growing at a crazy pace as a public state institution with the goal of creating and developing clean water sources for the city, and also the collection of drain water and all the related services. It was back in 2019, if I recall, 3 years ago, that it became run and administered directly by our municipal government. So congratulations, Zapal, I suppose. Great news for Puerto Vallarta city workers. Mayor Michel has just announced that the aguinaldo or Christmas bonus for city employees will actually be paid today. And for a change, the city is doing this early rather than later and without having to rely on bank loans to do so. Our Mayor Michel, stated that this is a sign of sound financial state in the city, and I suppose this is a good thing. Whale watching season began yesterday, according to EcoBack, the local nonprofit dedicated to whale ecology and conservation. However, for the first time in its history, Semarnat, the government entity in charge of granting whale watching tour providers with the corresponding permits, has yet to deliver these permits to them so that they can go out and do their work. I think there are a couple of two important takeaways to keep in mind here. Number one, it is worth recalling that a few days ago, local Semarnat employees went on strike, and this may have something to do with the delay. And number two, regardless of when the permits are delivered, it is important to avoid taking a whale watching tour with a company or tour provider or vessel that is not properly certified to do so. To that effect, we wholeheartedly recommend our friend Oscar Frey, owner and founder of Ocean Friendly Tours, for responsible whale watching experiences. We mentioned him a few days ago, and as it happens, I was walking around the neighborhood yesterday and I bumped into him at a restaurant, asked him to grant me an interview, and he said, of course, so hopefully we will be able to connect sometime in the near future. In the meantime, I will leave you again with his Facebook page in case you are thinking of booking a whale watching tour anytime in the near future. Let us now take a quick look at our at our weather, just to see what's going on out there. And hold on just a second. Boom, 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 boom. There you go. That looks like piranhas devouring a teabagger's. Oh, that cloud looks like piranhas devouring a teabagger's testicles. Ouch. Not that I've seen teabagger testicles in a long time, but what do I know? It is 26 degrees right now. Our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 79. Humidity is at 75%. That is not fun. And our weather forecast for today says humid and partly cloudy through the day with a high of 29 and a low of 20. Saturday, humid through the day. That will be tomorrow with a high of 28 and a low of 19. And Sunday, we'll wrap up our weekend with a clear day, a high of 28 and a low of 18. Hopefully, our humidity will decrease between now and then. So, as I was mentioning earlier during the introduction, what is the right way to refer to someone in a wheelchair or someone who cannot see or see well, or a person who can't hear or hear well, someone who doesn't speak, or someone who has noticeable trouble understanding things, someone who is sick a lot or always in pain, or just seems strange or off in some undefinable way? I asked myself these questions not too long ago when I had the pleasure of meeting Kathy and Den's daughter, Jessica. She was visiting them here in town, and she is an occupational therapist who has a lot of experience working with people that are neurologically diverse. And I told her that I have ongoing concerns about things like proper language and the way we refer to people, and making sure that we don't offend people in the process of doing so. And this is, of course, a multi-layered issue because we have terminology in English. We also have terminology in Spanish. So I said to her, I would like to ask you for a bit of homework, if you don't mind it. I said, would you mind jotting down some notes for me on proper technicology, proper terminology um, for these kinds of situations. And he sent me back a couple of very juicy, very wonderful paragraphs that I would like to read pretty much verbatim rather than trying to break them down, because again, I'm not an expert at this. I'm just trying to create better connections for myself as far as the kind of language that I use here in coffee and headlines, and hopefully, and in my life, of course, and hopefully you will find these three basic concepts that she shared with me of use, if there are people that fall under these categories in your life. The first thing that she talked about was neurodiversity, the realizations and acceptance that people are neurologically wired differently. For example, people with ADHD, autism, dyslexia, Tourette syndrome, Down syndrome, etc. We often try to make people conform or acclimate to ideas and behaviors that our neurotypical communities have deemed as appropriate and or acceptable. This can cause feelings of distress and inadequacy for those with different neurological experiences and responses. They may have very intense feelings in response to events or circumstances, or may be less responsive to those same events or circumstances. They can feel that their feelings are unwarranted and or wrong. Our society tends to invalidate their experiences, causing negative thoughts or feelings and potential for mental health challenges. I've experienced this myself. For example, not too long ago, I was at Walmart, and a mother with a teenager son who was clearly different was trying to get him to be quiet at the store, or to lower his voice. Her son was clearly reacting in a very intense way, and that was a perfect instance in which perhaps the mother unintentionally was making him feel awkward. The next topic that she brought up is the concept of disabilities versus differences. This is a similar concept than what we talked about. We have long designated diagnosis as disabilities, a classification that insinuates a less than status. While different challenges may arise secondary to a diagnosis, it would be beneficial to determine if the challenges are due to societal expectations or norms. We, especially in the US, said Jessica, want individuals to be productive and contribute to society with helpful financial contributions. If an individual does not fit the productive profile, the person can be treated as less than. There seems to be a collective resentment in the United States for people that find happiness outside of societal norms. Overall, unfortunately, the worth of productivity is more valuable than happiness. Then she shared a third concept, which is the use of the phrase being on the spectrum, or saying that someone is spectrumy. And she comments, why does someone feel the need to endlessly throw around this terminology? It can be demeaning and decrease the experience of the described person. Does categorizing that person as spectrumy or being on the spectrum help people try to understand the person? Probably not. Or does it eliminate the need to connect with that person and try to understand their specific experiences or needs? Autism is not something that the general public is comfortable having discussions about, often because it is something foreign and or produces symptoms of fear. Although that may be the case, communication is the way towards understanding and acceptance versus tolerance. I hate this word regarding the populations that I work with, she said. I think it is important to anticipate that all communication won't be perfectly delivered or understood, and that growth comes from discomfort or a growth mindset comes from discomfort. The more we listen and reflect, the less we react and make unhelpful assumptions. I have found, Jessica says, that judgment and assumptions, especially without understanding, are some of the biggest obstacles for the population of people that I surround myself with on a daily basis. Tolerance isn't the end goal, and neither is the sole idea of acceptance. Inclusion, in my head, is actively accepting someone while including that person in our world. Listening to my kids through their words, body language, vocalizations, and behaviors provides so much more enrichment and helps develop meaningful relationships. She wraps up by saying, I don't consider myself a teacher, but more of a guide and facilitator. So this were Jessica Doran's words as a professional in the field. I leave these thoughts with you for your consideration, not for discussion, not for agreement or disagreement. Simply, I put it out there just as all the content that we share here at Coffee and Headlines. Not to agree or disagree, simply to take into account or not. That said, I did find a very useful article on Forbes that can provide additional insight on to this very important topic. And I will share that in the show notes for you to take a look at after the broadcast. Now, I have a tip for locals. If you have ever wondered what hotels do with their used stuff when they remodel, what happens to all that furniture, what happens to towels and other chingaderas, let me tell you that if you didn't know this, there is a bazaar in Puerto Vallarta that sells slightly used secondhand hotel items. And these items are going to be available for you in two locations. One of them is in Coapinole, and that's where you can find the larger items like furniture and such. And then the shop that is located behind the stadium near in Colonia Lázaro Cárdenas features smaller items. I have never personally shopped at either one of these places, but I've heard from friends that have shopped there that they are worth checking out. Maybe one of these days we'll bring our cameras just to see what the fuss is about. But in the meantime, I wanted to share that tip with you. I also wanted to let you know that I read online today that a new IKEA-like shop is coming to Guadalajara in 2023. The company is called Cantia. I was intrigued by the image, and I went to their website where I found an awesome catalog of all the products they sell. And I'll share that website in the show notes. It will be located in the second story of the La Perla Shopping Center. So here is something else to look forward to for our next trips to Guadalajara if you are looking for quality furnishings. Then, of course, before we dive into our upcoming upcoming giveaway event, I know where Coffee and Headlines demography is. I know that we are favored by citizens of a certain age when it comes to viewers. And in that spirit, I'd like to share this article in English featuring the 5 best social media platforms for seniors. The good news is that Coffee and Headlines is in 2 of the mentioned platforms. Those would be Facebook and YouTube. Moving right along, I also want to let you know that, not to toot our own horn, but we have reached 2,400 subscribers on YouTube, and we are quickly reaching 2,500. So all I want to say is thank you so very much for your support and your trust, which brings us, of course, to a quick update on our upcoming members-only broadcast. Yesterday was quite a busy day for me between making sure that you were all getting notifications properly and that people were properly updating their information on Buy Me a Coffee and so forth and so on. It was a busy, lively day. I would like to remind you that a couple of years ago, or maybe a year and a half, or maybe a few months ago, Buy Me a Coffee had some glitches, stopped working with PayPal, and this is why some subscriptions were not renewed automatically. And you may go into Buy Me a Coffee and you may see a sign that says that your subscription was canceled by the creator or myself, please note that I don't cancel subscriptions. I don't do that. I've never canceled a single subscription. We have blocked some people for coming live with us here at Coffee and Headlines because they failed to follow our guidelines repeatedly, but we don't ever cancel subscriptions to Buy Me a Coffee just for the sake of it. Buy Me a Coffee is a big company, in case you were wondering. I was just looking at their blogs, and they have recently reached 800,000 creators. So there are 800,000 Coffee and Headlines out there, artists, painters, musicians, etc., that are working with Buy Me a Coffee as a platform where they can monetize their creativity. So this is good news. But back to our giveaway, I want to give you a couple of quick updates. Whiskey Kitchen has confirmed that they're going to share a Southern experience, stroll through a Southern supper experience, a 5-course pairing for 4 friends. That is going to be Whiskey Kitchen's contribution to our giveaway. Then our dear friend, let me advance this. Our dear friend Ibis from Aroma Vive is offering five 300 peso gift certificates, valid only for her own line of natural soaps and shampoos, her own line of Aroma Vive products. Thank you very much, Ibis. And of course, if you're curious about what she has, her store is located at Plaza Caracol. We also heard, and I haven't set this up, that the wonderful Gary Green, who is an awesome supporter of Coffee and Headlines, would like to donate a 500 peso e-gift card for Uber or Uber Eats. So we are very grateful for that. Oculto is in the process of finalizing their perk. So I am very excited to announce that, and we will update this as soon as we learn. So we have quite a few prizes now to share with you on our live broadcast. All you have to do is join us live if you're a subscriber on this coming Thursday afternoon at 5 o'clock local time. And of course, we've been posting all the nice information that you need if you want to consider pursuing a membership here at Coffee and Headlines. It can be monthly, it can be annual. Last but not least, before we get into our comments, a quick reminder of this event that goes on at Plaza Caracol on 3 Fridays of the month. This will be the second Friday where you will have the opportunity to adopt a pet anytime between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. So there you have it. This is a co-sponsored activity between Plaza Caracol and Friends of Puerto Vallarta Animals, and I'll leave you with their Facebook page so that you can learn more about them. I would also like to remind you that tomorrow is the Hecho a Mano latest edition of their market with items created by local artists. This will take place at El Patio in Colonia Emiliano Zapata between 3 p.m. and 10 p.m. And let's see what else we have. We have, of course, tomorrow as well, a concert with Christmas carols with the Puerto Vallarta Gaymen's Chorus. If you would like to join in holiday cheer, this is definitely something that you may want to consider. This is tomorrow at 7 p.m. at Act 2 Puerto Vallarta. And now let us take a quick look at your comments just to see what everybody is thinking of. Let's see. Lots of good mornings, lots of good mornings, which I always appreciate. Thank you very much for that, Logan. Finally got to listen to your Virgen de Guadalupe segment during my morning walk. I am in the process of putting that independently up on Facebook, and I will hopefully get to that today, if not tomorrow. Let's see what else we have. Another recommendation for a whale-watching tour. Thank you very much. Talia Martinez at Nat Tours is also excellent. Thank you very much for that, Albert. Joanne talks about Oscar Frey as a tour guide. He was an excellent guide for whale watching. So much knowledge to share and very respectful of marine life. Plus, he's completely bilingual and has a raspy voice that is absolutely wonderful. Let's see what else. Um, just take a water taxi out of Boca. Best whale watching I have seen on the way to Yelapa. I'm sure you can go further. Jeff, I am going to politely add a point of consideration here. And you can agree or disagree with me. This is just a point of consideration. A water taxi captain may or may not be knowledgeable of proximity issues with whales. And this is part of the guidelines that trained tour providers get when they get certified. So will a water taxi out of Boca give you a whale watching experience? Probably. Will this water taxi be aware of the fact that getting too close to manta rays or whales and so forth and so on is dangerous for these wonderful animals? I'm not so sure of that. So allow me to offer that point and let people decide responsibly what to do. Eric says, there was not a notification on the Facebook page when you went live. Am I missing something? I can't seem to see the live stream when it starts. Eric, we get this question very frequently. Unfortunately, the notifications get sent by Facebook, not by me. We have constant announcements or comments from people that say that they don't get the notifications. Regretfully, there's very little I can do from my end for that. All I can tell you is that Monday through Saturday at 10:30 in the morning, local time, sometimes at 10:31, and a couple of times at 10:32, we go live and we are here. And furthermore, we have about 2 or 3 minutes worth of introduction music and this, that, and the other, so that you don't miss a thing. But please know that we're always here at 10:30 in the morning. Let's see. Karen appreciates Jessica's word. I do too, Karen. Having a nice conversation with Jessica was great. As you all know, I am very, very, very grateful to her parents for their friendship, both Kathy and Den. They've been wonderful to me, and Jessica was just a delight to get to know. And she was here on vacation, but when you see these skilled professionals coming to Puerto Vallarta, one wishes one could squeeze time and information from them so that they could increase their awareness with local people in charge of those kinds of situations. Was nice to see that you got together with Maricruz. Have not seen her in such a long time. Well, Michael, unfortunately, I was not able to see Maricruz. Maricruz, of course, is the graphic designer or former graphic designer. I don't even know if she does it anymore. For Vallarta Lifestyles, there was a posada or Christmas party, birthday party last night. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend, but I did leave a birthday present for my dear friend Maricruz and for my dear friend Pati Peña, former colleagues from Vallarta Lifestyles. Let's see what else we have. Oh, groovy. Thank you for this feedback. I was not aware of this. Again, I'm not familiar with the brand. Cantia has a great story in Aguascalientes too. It's IKEA on steroids. Welcome edition in Guadalajara. Thank you very much for that, Gary. I look forward to seeing it. Albert says, people of a certain age. I love it. My current doctor's favorite term. I like that very much. Here's a cue. It is fantastic to see that the local business community sees such value in supporting our cluster. I am looking forward to returning that support next time I'm in Puerto Vallarta. Thank you very much for that, Brian. And rest assured, and I say this to you, members of the cluster, I say this to business members that have already partnered with us for our giveaway, and anybody that is interested in doing this, we will toot their horn. We will toot your horn moving forward, because just like Brian says, I appreciate the trust you place not only in myself, but also in the viewers, in you, the cluster members, to shop responsibly and shop with appreciation at businesses that support us. Let's see what else we have. Harold, well, I'm not going to judge it until I see it. Harold apparently has had unpleasant experiences with IKEA knockoffs. I can appreciate that, but again, I'm not familiar with this company, so I'm not going to judge until I set foot in the place. Let's see. Ta-da-ta-ti-ta-ta. I think we're done. Yay. Another coffee and headlines. I'm going to continue collecting and processing giveaway items today as we continue to get them. And I'm going to always thank you for your support, for your appreciation, for your coming here to Coffee and Headlines and simply taking what is useful and not taking what is not. That's what we do, and that's how we like it. Occasionally, I am the first person to be guilty of throwing in my opinions on this, that, and the other, but I know better than to do that. Thank you very much for that. Oh, there's another cue. Did I understand correctly that those of us not currently in Puerto Vallarta can play along at meet and greet, giveaways, and gifts to someone in PV? Karen, everything that we are giving away, I have arbitrarily given an expiration date of end of May 2023, just for management purposes. So if you are not in Puerto Vallarta and win something and would like to gift it to somebody else, that is only something that you will be able to handle between you and the business. Yours truly will stay away from that detail because it really is not up to me to make those decisions. So if you win something and you are not going to be able to use it, but you want to gift it to someone, what I will recommend is that you get in touch with the business. You let them know if this is possible, and it will be up to the businesses to say yes or no. That'll be out of my hands. On my side, I remain grateful, again, that all these businesses are willing to sponsor us. So there you have it. Thank you very much, and I will be back here tomorrow with more Coffee and Headlines. Have a good day.